Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and welcome to what I hope will be a new series on this channel where we're going to have a look at the most popular transfers and we're going to rank them in a tier list. Guys, I have made a few tier lists over the summer, you guys seem to like them, but in terms of an actual series that runs every week, I don't know if this is going to go well or not. So if you do enjoy this one, please do leave a like to let me know that you want to see more of this, and also leave a comment on any way you think I can make this video a little bit better as we go forward, because we want to make more good content, and I love that feedback. Guys, also subscribe if you're new around here for plenty more FPL content every single day, pretty much, other than maybe weekends, but that's pretty much it. Let's have a go at this tier maker list thing. Okay guys, so what we've done today is I've got 20 players, the 20 most popular transfers at the point of recording, and we're going to basically rank them on who I think are very good transfers to bring in and who I don't actually like so much, and we're going to talk a little bit about each of these players. We've got 5 tiers. We've got S tier, must buy; A tier, great transfers; B's, who are optional; C's, where I think people are just knee-jerking these players in; and finally D's, avoids, players who I just would, there's just no way I'm touching these players, no chance whatsoever. So guys, let's go through some of these players. They're in a pretty much a random order, but if you guys want me to do them in a specific order in future videos, we'll do that. Like, you know, I'm very flexible. This is brand new series on the channel, so let's just see how it goes. So guys, let's start off with Mo Salah. For a start, why are people going without Salah? Like, we knew what he can do. Yeah, maybe his points that he got at the weekend were a little bit lucky, but this is what Salah does. Salah doesn't have to play well to get FPL points, which is what makes him such a great FPL asset and why he always seems to get points no matter what the situation is. So a disappointing Liverpool side, I do think they'll bounce back for it. You know, I'm looking through the future fixtures for Liverpool, and they do look pretty good as well. And that Manchester United game in Game Week 3, seeing Manchester United at the weekend, Salah could have a field day there. Crystal Palace is the next fixture. Salah is, you know, usually performs quite well against Crystal Palace. So I think he is a great transfer, arguably a must buy, but it's kind of like most of you guys are going to have Salah already. So yeah, I'm gonna put him in the must buy category because I just don't see how you can have an FPL team that doesn't have Salah in, but maybe that's pretty boring of me. Let's go to Mendy next. Mendy, I'm going to put straight in, I'm actually going to put him in avoid. I was thinking about putting him in knee-jerk, but I'm actually going to put him in avoid because I don't really understand why people are transferring in Mendy. First of all, goalkeeper transfers is just not what you want to do. Typically in FPL, making transfers on your goalkeepers is just a bad idea. You never really gain very much out of it, and there's so many better ways of using your transfers. Unless you've chosen a goalkeeper who is, you know, now injured or now suspended, those would be the only times where I would kind of recommend transferring in a new goalkeeper. But as for transferring in Mendy, when he's about to play Spurs who just scored 4 goals in their opening game, you know, I don't think Chelsea looked 100% defensively either. I don't think they look 100% amazing, but I just don't know why anyone would transfer in Mendy. Like, who are you transferring out to get in Mendy? It doesn't make much sense. Like, I don't like this transfer at all. I think it's a really bad one. Kieran Trippier, I think, is optional. I don't think it's a great transfer. I don't think it's a bad transfer. I feel like if you were going to go for Trippier, probably should have gone with him from game week 1, but you know, it's never too late to correct something that you thought you should have done earlier, but that's no problem whatsoever. So he's an okay option. I think, to be fair, Newcastle do still have a few good fixtures to come. So yeah, maybe it could be a decent transfer to make. Andreas is an interesting one. I don't really know why he's so heavily transferred in this week so far. I guess he is optional. Like, I do still think he's a really good option for 4.5 million on those set pieces. He was playing really, really far forward for that Fulham team against Liverpool as well, wasn't he? He was playing so advanced. You know, at certain points, he was further forward than Mitrovic and everything. So yeah, really liked the look of Andreas, even though he didn't score any FPL points. You look at him and you can tell FPL points are coming. So yeah, I'm going to put him in optional. And even if you've got a 5.5 or a 5 million midfielder and you're looking for a replacement, Andreas could actually be the one, and then you can free up that money to spend elsewhere. Ward, I'm also going to put in as an avoid. I think it's slightly less of an avoid than Mendy because Ward does have that unique characteristic among goalkeepers that he is only 4 million. Like, I know a lot of us knew that Ward was going to be playing as a 4 million goalkeeper before, but if you're only just getting that information now, that's absolutely fine as well. But I do still feel like that's not a transfer I'd like to make. I feel like the only way you would make this transfer, if you were just absolutely desperate to free up money for some reason, that's the only reason I can think of why someone would transfer in Ward. You know, maybe you've got a 5 or a 4.5 million goalkeeper. You're desperately trying to, you know, free up some money, so you transfer in Ward. But you're bringing in a Leicester goalkeeper. They have played Arsenal next. You just can't imagine you're going to get too many points out of a Leicester goalkeeper right now. I just can't see it happening. I can just see them conceding more goals. But look, it could work out, but maybe I can move it to knee-jerk just because there is the one reason you would make this is to free up money. But aside from that, literally no reason to transfer in Ward. Let's put Ward-Prowse in. Let's put him in low optional. I do think Ward-Prowse is an option to bring in, but he is one of those players who, if like I've said this so many times before, guys, but I'll say it again. If you are going to bring in James Ward-Prowse, don't get disappointed when he blanks for 4 game weeks in a row. It's just what happens. He scores, you know, at random. He will just get you take a random long shot, or, you know, as the weekend was, you know, a random rebound kind of type goal. He'll take a random free kick. You know, you never really know when you're going to get a free kick and a fantastic opportunity, and if that was to happen, then Ward-Prowse obviously has a good chance of scoring. You know, his FPL returns are really random, so expect him to blank for several games in a row where they might be easy games, and then expect him to go on 4 game weeks of scoring like 10 points per game week. He's a great pick, but he's a pick and stick kind of player, so he's optional. But make sure, guys, if you are picking up James Ward-Prowse, stick with him. Don't give up on him if he blanks, because the points will come at random. Jorginho, this is a knee-jerk one. I don't hate Jorginho because he can chip in with those penalties. Like, that's really the only way he's going to get FPL points is from those penalties. But it is a knee-jerk transfer to expect him to get a penalty every game. He's not going to get a penalty every game. He's one of those players like James Ward-Prowse who will pretty much get FPL points at random. Just will happen just randomly. But the difference is with Jorginho is it's literally just going to be penalties, and it's a little bit harder to predict, where James Ward-Prowse, I feel like in FPL terms, offers a little bit more. So Jorginho's a knee-jerk. Ahead of a game against Spurs, it seems a bit weird, but we move. Kyle Walker, I think, is optional. I think it's pretty high optional. I think, you know, we're expecting Man City to get a few clean sheets in the upcoming games. You know, they've got that West Ham game out of the way, which was probably going to be one of their harder games from a defensive point of view, so kind of like that one. Reece James, I think, it's just a weird time to buy him. I do like him. I'm gonna put him maybe like in the middle of optional. He's obviously a good player to buy, but ahead of a game against Spurs, you know, Spurs in theory should score against Chelsea, right? Chelsea, like I was saying earlier, they did concede a few chances, and I feel like Chelsea against a slightly better team like Spurs may actually, you know, concede a goal or two. I do think Chelsea will get better with time, and I do think their fixtures after the Spurs game looks really good. So definitely with these Chelsea defenders, I would be looking to go for them soon. But this game week is probably not the game week I would go for it. It's an option, I guess, but probably now is not the time. But, you know, despite getting a yellow card, getting bonus points, you know what he can do, like getting the passes, being creative, taking the odd shot as well. Just a good FPL asset in general, really. But is now the time to buy him? Is now the right moment to buy him? To me, probably no. Cancelo, I think, is a great transfer. Good fixture coming up next. You saw, again, another player who got a yellow card and still managed to sneak 2 bonus points because he does so much. He passes so much. He makes those occasional blocks and tackles. You know, takes the occasional shot as well. Cancelo is always on the edge of a haul, isn't he? And, you know, we're definitely not complaining. If he didn't get his yellow card, he would have been on for, you know, possibly even a 9-pointer. An 8 or 9-pointer would have been phenomenal for Cancelo. We would have loved that. And that's without even getting any attacking returns, which we know he can get. Haaland, I think, has to go into the must-buy category. He's already had a price rise. I've actually written down his price completely wrong on screen right now, so you have to forgive me. He is 11.6 million. I don't know why I've put 13.1, but we move, I guess. But yeah, Haaland is 11.6 million now, so he is going up in price. He's probably going to continue to go up in price, so make sure you are moving fairly soon if you are convinced you are going to go for Haaland before the Game Week 2 deadline. But yeah, I mean, what a performance. Great fixture next. Let's see what can happen. It looks good, doesn't it? Patterson, I like. I quite like this one. I actually have him on my bench at the moment. I don't think he's a must-buy. I don't think he's a particularly good transfer to make if you're looking to be aggressive. He's kind of like, you know, a nice cheap option. But I can kind of understand, you know, if you want to downgrade a defender right now and you want to free up some money, by going for a new defender, I think Patterson would probably be the first on my list. So I'm actually going to put him very high optional. It very much depends on what you're trying to do. If you're making 2 transfers and you want to free up some money to make another transfer elsewhere, then Patterson is arguably a great transfer, but let's put him in optional because I think there are more aggressive transfers you can make in isolation. Zinchenko, I think, is a great transfer. I think he's arguably better than Cancelo as a great transfer. Like, I loved him all pre-season. I was hyping him up all pre-season, and then I didn't have the guts to go for him myself because I didn't really want to triple up on Arsenal. I wanted to leave that third Arsenal slot open. But right now, if I had to choose one new Arsenal player to bring into my FPL team, I would probably say it would be Zinchenko. He would probably be the player I'd go for. You know, already got Jesus, I've already got Saka. You know, maybe Martinelli is also worth a shout there, but we'll talk about him in a moment. Zinchenko, you know, I really like this pick, and he's gone up to 5.1 million already. So if you're kind of disappointed with one of your defenders and you're looking for a new defender, Zinchenko will probably be the guy I would go for sure. Mitrovic, let's add him in. What a performance against Liverpool as well. What a performance. Really liked him. I think I don't think he's a must-buy. I think his fixtures are still not perfect, but I don't think, you know, I don't think they're as bad as maybe, you know, after that Liverpool game. Now that Liverpool game's out of the way, and he's already done the business there. He actually looks, his fixtures like don't look as bad now. They don't look quite as bad. So I don't think he is a must-buy, but he's certainly a great transfer to make. I think, you know, I think all of the worry we had about Mitrovic and how he'd perform in the new season has kind of gone out the window now. So, yeah, maybe we can have a little bit of confidence because of what performance. It wasn't just the points, it was the performance. And I think that's something we need to look at when we're picking our players to transfer in. Not just points, but performances, which you will soon learn as we get to some of these later players. Now, Kulusevski, I think, is optional. I'm going to put him high optional. I don't think he's a great transfer to make. You know, ahead of the Chelsea game, you know, playing Chelsea away, is that again, we're talking about the right moments to bring in a player. Probably not the right moment, but, you know, great performance by Kulusevski. Is he going to do it every game? Possibly. You know, he did very well last season. Is when Richarlison's back, Richarlison's going to be back, obviously, for game week 2. Is that going to impact Kulusevski's game time? I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure. I think he's optional. I think he's optional at this moment. I would be personally probably waiting until after the Chelsea game to go for Kulusevski, though. Just maybe have a look at him. One more game week's worth of data and get that bad fixture out the way, I think is a good thing, right? Martinelli, I got him in the great transfer category. I'm going to put him near to Mitrovic. The only worry with Martinelli is that as time goes by, Smith Rowe is more likely to come in and start impacting his game time. You know, as Smith Rowe gets fitter and fitter, you know, he could come in and do a little bit of damage in Martinelli's minutes. But, you know, great start. Fixtures only get better from here for Arsenal. I think he's a really good option, and for 6 million, like, he's just the ultimate 6 million midfielder. No one had ever had any doubt about whether or not he was the ultimate 6 million midfielder or not. I think a lot of people didn't want to go too heavy on Arsenal's attack in game week 1. Crystal Palace, we didn't think it would be a very easy game for Arsenal, but now that's out the way, is it Martinelli time? Quite possibly. Definitely someone I would be looking at if I was in the market for a 6 million midfielder. Like, he'd be the number one choice, in fact. If you're looking for any midfielder under like 7.5 million or less, Martinelli is just the player to go for. Great option, love him. Darwin Nunez, I mean, he is a must-buy. He's more of a must-buy than Salah. And I'd arguably, like, I know Haaland's price is wrong on screen, so it looks worse than it is, but Darwin, for his price, is arguably better than Haaland, like, genuinely to me. But I'm not going to put him ahead of Haaland. I think that would be a difficult argument to make. But what a performance! It's so obvious that so much is going to go through Darwin Nunez this season. It really is looking good. The difficulty is, how do we get him in? You're basically going to be forced to sacrifice one of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, or Diaz. Now, if I was a Diaz owner, I probably would be sacrificing Diaz for Darwin. If I was a Robertson owner, I would be thinking about it a little bit more. I wouldn't be as convinced by that. But, yeah, it's kind of up to you. It's one of those situations where you kind of wish you never had a Diaz or a Robertson in the first place, so it would be a much easier decision to make, because Darwin just looks crazy good. I really can see him, you know, at least by my first wild card. He's going to be in my first wild card team for sure, and probably a season keeper, really. Like, this looks good. This looks really good. Not just the ability of the player, but how he's fitting into this Liverpool team. It's very nice. Pascal Gross it's just an avoid. not quite as much of an avoid as Mendy, I guess. So let's put him there. But he is just an avoid. Yeah, like, he's one of those, you know, we get this every game. We will get this every game week, particularly at the start of the season where a lot of newer FPL players are playing. What they'll do is they'll look at game week 1 points, who scored the most points. Oh, that player looked like they scored a lot of points and they don't cost very much money. They must be a good FPL option. In reality, that's often not the case. So this is kind of one of those FPL picks where people will just pick whoever scored the most points last week. And you know, if history is to go by, Pascal Gross is not going to be scoring those amounts of points every game week. You know, Manchester United were very poor, completely forgot how to defend, or maybe never knew how to defend in the first place. So it's going to be, it's not going to be plain sailing for, you know, random midfielders who happen to score very well in one game week. It's difficult for me to say that he will be able to put up these consistent performances in terms of FPL points. There are some other players around the same price that I would much prefer. You know, Martinelli for 6, for example, much better option to go for in my opinion. Fabian Schär is knee jerk. I don't think he's a terrible FPL option, but he is just knee-jerk. It's, again, a great goal by him, by the way. If you haven't seen the goal, go watch the goal. But he's not going to do that every game week. He's not. And he could even be rotated. You know, we've got Botman to come in as well. You know, we've heard a lot about kind of Eddie Howe kind of suggesting that maybe he's going to play Botman and Dan Burn together. And then maybe Fabian Schär does get rotated. As soon as Botman is kind of ready to go, Schär's minutes are going to be a little bit at risk, so I'm not completely convinced by this one. Probably would not be going for it. And Saliba, I know why people went for Saliba. He got the clean sheet and he got a couple of bonus points as well. When you just look at his score, it looks very good. And obviously, he's a very good centre-back and he's only 4.5 million. But when Tomiyasu comes into the team, Saliba is probably going to rotate a little bit with Ben White. And also, when we're looking at these Arsenal players and the fixtures that Arsenal have, I feel like we can get so much more out of these our 3 Arsenal slots if we go for those, you know, slightly more aggressive, high ceiling players. You know, Martinelli, Zinchenko, Saka, Jesus. These kind of players can score you really, really high, you know, high scores. But when Saliba is kind of really limited at 6 points, and then maybe he gets a couple of bonus points, he's not really going to get you any attack in return. So I would conserve my Arsenal slots for, you know, a player who can get you a lot of points. So yeah, basically I'm going to put him in. I'm going to put him in knee jerk. He is a good price for what he offers. I'm not. He could maintain his place even when Tomiyasu is back, coming in at right back. But I'm not convinced by that one at all. It's not something I would ever go for personally. I think it's a knee jerk, but I don't despise it as a transfer. Whereas like transfers like people going for Pascal Gross or Edouard Mendy, I just hate that so much. I just hate those transfers. So there we go, guys. I think that's pretty much our tier list for the game we sorted. Again, don't know what you guys thought about this one, how it was structured and how we kind of went through this one. But if there's any improvements you think I can make to this video, let me know, because, you know, I'm putty in your hands. Let's make this a good series. If you guys like it already, you know, if it's terrible and we shouldn't do this again, tell me that as well, and I won't do it again. And I'll come up with a different idea. I've got a few other ideas for content that we can maybe run as weekly series. So if you don't like this one, we'll just do something else. That's fine, absolutely fine by me. So there we go, guys, and please do like if you enjoyed this one. Please do subscribe if you haven't done already. Plenty more content to come this week. Buy, sell, keep, avoid, 100 experts, my team reveal, and my showing you off my Game Week 1 scores, which weren't so good. I'll show you those on Thursday. I hope you guys did very well in Game Week 1, by the way. Me, not so much. We'll do a stream tonight, and also, guys, a special shout out to Fantasy Football Hub, who are continuing to support the channel throughout the month of August. They are still running 50% off on their website. They're extended it. You can still get 50% off their subscription service. All of access to all of their tools that all of the pro FPL players are using right now. Go check that out. Link in the top of the description. But that's pretty much it from me today. So thank you once again for watching. Hope to see a few of you in the stream tonight, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye bye.